Off brake, spring into forward straight away, starts turning him and passing him.
The man who will be overseeing the first landing of the F-35 jet, literally from the glass-fronted flight control, or FLICO, is Commander James Blackmore.
It is a big day coming up for me personally, but for the ship, for the Royal Navy, for the defence at large, and I think for the nation as well. But until we do it for the first time with the aircraft, we don't truly know how it reacts with the flight deck. We simply don't know until we do it for real.
And the first to land will be a Royal Navy pilot?
Yep, Commander Nathan Gray, a good friend of mine. Him and I have known each other for pretty much 20 years now. We've flown Harriers together. Very, very talented test pilot. So to have a good friend of mine coming to the deck is a real privilege.
"40-year-old Nathan Gray is the Royal Navy's top test pilot. He's been training on the F-35 in America for the last 3 years.
The day's drawing near to the first landing, which is exciting. It's getting closer.
Patterson Naval Air Station on America's East Coast. Nathan is going through his final preparations for that critical first landing, which, if all goes well, will be followed by a first ever launch.
So much could go wrong. There could be things that we haven't thought of. We'd like to think we know that when the jet lands on board the deck for the first time, we're not going to burn a great big hole in the flight deck. That's what we think, but we don't really know it until we actually do the event. There's a lot of pressure. The nation are watching, but not just our nation. Nations from around the world are watching, because this is the largest defence project in the world. We've done lots of simulator trials, we've done lots of tests. We've got computational flow dynamics. It's all computer equation driven. It's our best guess.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 6, 6.
So many complicated things and interactions going on with the airflow over the deck at varying different angles of approach and also varying airspeed.
Okay, we're coming down the starboard side here of the ship.
But again, you never know from simulation until you actually do the real event.
Right, guys, gather round. The worst case scenario for us for an F-35 crash on deck is if it's landed, it's still on its wheels, and the pilot is still in the cockpit with the engine running. Right, that is the worst case scenario. Right, go! Now, the engine's still running, but the two pins are in, right? So the canopy's not going to blow and the ejection seat's not going to go up. You can either straddle at the front or you can go around the back. But what he needs to be doing now, Mac, checking airways, making sure they're okay. That primary survey, and then using the rescue hoist, winch the pilot out into the pod and down.
Of course, if things go wrong, Nathan may already have ejected. It is one of the greatest fears for any fighter pilot, because whilst an ejection seat is designed to get you out of trouble, it can compound the problems considerably. As Nathan found out for himself as a young trainee pilot back in 2002. It was December the 15th at RAF Wittering, and a day he will never forget.
Just after we got airborne, the Harrier's Pegasus engine catastrophically failed and exploded. That caused the aircraft to catch on fire and effectively roll upside down and impact the ground. I was with Lieutenant Commander Jack London, who was in the back cockpit. We both ejected. My ejection seat worked, got me out, but unfortunately for Jack, it didn't quite work, and we lost Jack.
That must have had a huge effect on you.
It did. It was really hard. It still is really hard. Obviously, there's always going to be an underlying concern there, which actually has helped me to become a better test pilot, because you're never blasé about any event now. It was really difficult to get over because the work still has to go on. We still have to keep flying the aircraft and still do the job, protect the nation. It certainly made a lot of us reflect on our own mortality. Jack London, by far, Royal Navy's finest fighter pilot. I'd like to think he's looking down now, having been the person who taught me short takeoffs and rolling vertical landings. And we do the same manoeuvres again in the F-35, and we'll be doing it on HMS Queen Elizabeth. So yeah, I'd like to think he's looking down proud.